Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, I go. Okay. Istungon jokayadega. Istungon jokayadega. You make it through the night, okay? Okay. Istungon jokayadega. Istungon jokayadega. That's for more than one. Okay.
Mvhayv, we can't see your shared screen.
I was just about to say. Beat me
Okay.
to it.
Let's see. Hang on. Hang on. Trying to get it here. Can't see my screen. Let me see. You can't hear me though, right?
Yes,
We
ma'am.
can see you and we can hear you, but we can't see the computer screen.
Give me a second here. What's mine? Oh, I can't find my bag. Just give me a second. That's how come I got on this, because this thing gets temperamental. It's speed to screen. I don't know, I don't never use this. Let's see, well, it should be a bar. Oh, yeah, I was thinking down there somewhere. I go to back to. Oh, well. see. Go to this. No.
Here.
Oh, you're not in one yet, right?
No, it's not sharing, that's why it's not doing. Oh, what do you got out of it? There it is, open. I need to share it.
Okay. It's not in the, that's just a document.
They can see, they can't see the screens, but they're not seeing. See, that should be the one that shares the screen, right?
Nothing about that. No.
Nope.
Go back to Zoom,
Okay.
because that's just a file. Go to here.
More, there it is.
There you go.
There, screen right there. Now, well, sure it is. Can y'all see it now?
He.
Okay. Good.
We'll clean these weeds up.
All right, we got it. Share. Okay, there you go. It's still on Jokaya de Gaga. That's to all of y'all. Okay. So this is what we gotta say when we see that's kind of more or less like a greeting. You know. Okay, we're kind of going back over some of the things that we've been doing. Being Friday, we're going to do a little bit of review. Last night, Nithiesi. Nithi is nighttime. But when you say last night, you say Nithiesi. That's saying last night. Remember that now. Nithi is your base word for that. The old man. And you know this is Mesti. Ajulat. Ajulat means old. Mesti is the man. Mesti. Dough. And this can mean scissors, knife, or anything. Diffney. But it's gotta have where it can cut. It can't be anything like it has to be like a hoe, a shovel, a knife, like that you can sharpen. It would be diffney, a dough. Yan, nojayida, that's 2 yan. Nojayida. Gopher, egan tholakija. Tholaki is the base word for this tholakija. Tholaki means has a hole in it. But when you say tholakija, that means it makes holes. Okay, it makes holes. Mold, dago. Oh, dago is supposed to be okay. Gosh. Dago. Suspenders. Sohalatka. Packed lunch. E-halwa. That's a e-halwa. E-halwa. Packed lunch. When I look at words like this is what I see like. That's an unusual word, e-halwa. And I don't even know what the base word is for that, e-halwa. Saying, oktaha. Yesterday, baksangi. The base word for that is baksi. Baksi is tomorrow. But now what about today? Today is mujanitta. Tomorrow is baksi. But yesterday, baksangi. Ris, ingi, tokkikiga. Tokkikiga means it's leaning on each other. So that's what it's saying for ris. Tokkikiga. Chustagi inlani egg yolk. Jostagi. Jostagi is a base word for Jostak, but that's how we speak. Instead of saying the whole word Jostagi in Lani, which we do say that, we say Jostak in Lani. Ase or asema, yonder, over yonder, or over there. We say over there, you know, asema. But here it's saying yonder, over yonder. So that's what we're going to do kind of review today. Daphne got, yeah, Daphne. Daphne is a dog, yeah. Daphne. Very good.
My question was, it was spelled up there,
Wrong.
D.
Thank you. Thank you. That is spelled wrong. It's T-E. It's D-E-F-N-E. I'm not D. Sorry about that. That's Daphne. It's T-E-F-N-E. When I do this, y'all better point me out because I went through there like I knew, because I'm looking at the English and just going through it. Daphne. Daphne. It's T-E-F-N-E. Daphne. Dog. Very good, Thor. Very good. Mado.
Yeah.
Mado. Because you know, when I was in school for this stuff, they told me to read it. Of course, I didn't know how to read Muskogee. So I would read it in English. I'd look at it in English and just start reading it. And my teacher said, You're not reading the book, you're translating it. That's what she told me, and I was. And this is what I'm doing here. I'm not even looking at the Creek. I'm looking at the English and just saying it. Good job. Good job. Mado. That shows me something. Different phrases. Hippopotamus. Who can say hippopotamus? We sokha. We sokha. We sokha is a water pig, and it's got to be, because we didn't have it in our area, we had to do descriptive. We had to be descriptive, so we just said, and it does kind of look like a pig to me, but you know, that's all we knew all our lives was that. This is all brand new to me, so I'm just trusting y'all. Well, you know, if you listen, we probably need to go back over sounds too, just to refresh. You got single letter sounds and 2-letter sounds and 3-letter sounds. D is D-E, Daphne. And when I make mistakes like this for somebody like you, that's it messes you up, and I'm sorry about that. We sokha. Let's get back to this. We sokha, but we'll go back over sounds. So here before the next class, we'll go back over sounds. We sokha is water pig. Sokha is pig, and you probably heard this being spelled different too. Some people spells it with a U, and it's all dialect. Some says we sokha, and some people says we sokha. I say we sokha. Adami. Pajoksi dos. Pajoksi is bashed in, dented, or whatever, you know, as long as it's got, you know, it can be wrecked. That's pajoksi. Adami is derived from automobile or auto. We didn't have cars. They called it auto or automobile, and we said adami. Adami. That's a Crinklish word. You know, it's English. It's English word changed to Muskogee sounds. Adami. The bat is flying around. Dokfaliliska. Dokfaliliska. Damget artidos. The black bat is flying around. Dokfaliliska is a bat, but do you know we don't have a word for the baseball bat or a softball bat? We don't have that. We call it a ball hitter. Boko snufkida to hit a ball with. And you know, it's this and Faliliska. And I don't. Faliliska means like it's got wide wings and it's just real fast, like it's making this wave, and that's what Faliliska means. So maybe it is descriptive. Faliliska. I walked along the river. Abejiji along. Hachi abejiji. Yagabayes. That's walking along the road, a trail, or whatever. Abejiji. So here. Cholotka istinayo fejidos. A cricket is bothersome. Cholotka, there was a girl up here just a while ago chasing the cricket down. She said it's loud. And she was trying to get a hold of it, and we were saying Cholotka, Cholotka. That's a cricket. Golipa is a firefly. Miski is summer. Fully means it goes out, they're around. Tues. Golipa. And if you look at this, the English says comes out. We can't say that. We just have to say they go around. Golipa, Goliduis. Tukto. Tukto. There's no base for that either. And that's where I kind of got interested in his languages. Like some has base words, some don't have any. They're just words. Tukto. Tukto, bahi, adiki duis. Remember now, bahi is grass, but we don't have a word for hay bales. We don't have a word for it. So it's descriptive. If we're going to say, we say bahi shadahi. We say a square hay that you're talking, that's a bale. But if we say boloksi, that's that big old round one. So Dokto bahi adikidui. So remember bahi, when we just say bahi, this is where situation and environment comes in. This because we're saying barn, there's bales of hay in there. So we know that's what you're talking about. A lot of this language has a lot to do with situation and language, environment. Alikcha hifiduis, the doctor is good. Tues is doing is, okay, kind of like dos. Alikcha is a doctor. But Hilis Haya is a medicine man. And Alikcha is like somebody that doctors you, but a medicine man is a medicine maker. Hilis Haya. And the base word for that is Hiliswa. Hiliswa is medicine, but that can be a pharmacist too. Somebody brought that up earlier. Hilis Haya. That's what my daughter is. My daughter is a Hilis Haya. Not a medicine, but a pharmacist. Okay. Istilibega. Shoshi is hagidos. You can call leather a cow. We call it waga husby. Husby is skin. And of course, we have to describe it. Cow skin or alligator skin, even snake skin. For shoes, but chushi is the name of leather in general. Chushi. It doesn't matter whether it's cow, snake, alligator, or deer. Leather in general is chushi. So you would say, instead of putting a name to it, you would say istilibega chushi is hagidos. You would just say, you're just saying leather shoes here. But if you said snake skin shoes, you would say chito husby istilibega. See, you're putting you're actually identifying it. Hathisi anadoxite. Teach the West. Anadoxite means looking up at, like this light here. I got a light right here. Golgi anadoxite. Teach the West. I'm saying I'm looking. Got my head tilted up, looking at the light. So when you tilt your head up like this and look at something, it's anadakshik. Anadakshik. Afalla in Bengali Dewey's. He or she is afraid of the poison ivy. Afalla is poison ivy. Afalla. I don't know what the base word for that is. Afalla. And that's why I wonder about this language. Some's got base words, some don't. So is that original word? Afalla. Afalla. Poison ivy. I didn't know what poison ivy was in English and for, I don't know when I learned it. I don't know when I was told that it was poison ivy. I always heard afalla. And there was one ground that was full of poison ivy and my mother wouldn't let me go because I could just get close to it and I would break out. And so I didn't go, but I'm not that way anymore. Honna, nokwa, bigitskik, hithosidos. Okay, this is what you call, bigitskik means gathered or pleated. And my mother used to describe my grandmother's dress and she would say bigitskik. She meant gathered or so she would say bigitski doies. And I knew then that it wasn't pleats, it had to be gathered. Ja, bonaga, saleji ja, nak bojashit onai doies. When a word starts with this bonaga is language, saleji ja. When it starts with it, nak things, bojasha, ownership, tells. So it's telling when it's telling you when a word starts with ja, it shows ownership. Hoktuji igesi, chokchoskidos. The little girl's hair is knotted or tangled. Most of the time we say tangled. And you know, the grandkids that I keep, they all got long hair. You just don't know how long it takes after they take a shower and when we're gonna go somewhere. Because I said instead of I'm saying plural. So I have them, one wants a haircut. So this evening we're gonna go get a haircut. I'm leaving at 1 so I can go get my granddaughter's haircut. She's gonna get it cut off too. So chokchoski means tangled or not. In this, it can be a rope. If a rope is tangled up or even electric wire, it's chokchoski. Anything that's tangled, you know, it's chokchoski. So you can use this word with anything. Okay, look here. I'd like for y'all to use this because this is every day. For me, it is. Okjanwa, asanwayas. Pass me the salt. Asanwayas. Okjanwa. Okjanwa is salt. Asanwayas means pass me. Okjanwa. And you know, that's one of our main things. And so my grandkids don't know what salt is in English, but they know Okjanwa, so they know that word. And it was just by eating supper or eating dinner or eating anywhere, we'd say, do you want salt? And so that was an image that they learned because we never told them that it was salt. That my little boy might know it now, my little grandson. Noggin no thejitska. Noggin no thejitska. What are you cooking? Noggin is what? No thejitska. Are you cooking? Are you cooking? Now listen to this. Remember I said there's crinklish. And we didn't have a word for hamburger. We probably didn't even know what a hamburger was. But as the elders, when they started seeing it, and they probably heard somebody say hamburger, they'd say hamburger, hamburger. They call it hamburger. And I had a cousin. He never called it hamburger. He'd say hamburger, hamburger, because that's all he ever heard, and that was my uncle's son. He'd say hamburger, Jayach, what is it, Thor? You have a question? I can't hear you for one.
Okay.
Okay, there you go.
On this noggin of Legitska.
Mhm.
Oh, now I get it. I get it.
Oh. Uh-huh.
It's cuz not a separate word. It's part of the no Legitska. All right,
Uh-huh.
I get it.
No noggin, no.
Sorry.
Uh-huh.
Unmythless.
Oh, that's okay. Dokos, it's dokos. Noggin, I get that to go. Don't worry about it. Noggin, see now to go. Don't worry about it. See now means worry. Now, so don't worry about it. Okay, noggin no Scott. What are you cooking? What are you cooking? Okay, hamburger, hamburger. And you know, I've heard that all my life. My great-great-grandma Jenkins used to ask her, listen now, my great-great-grandma Jenkins used to ask her kids and grandkids every morning, did you make it through the night? But she would say it in English. I don't think she knew Muskogee, but she kept thinking in those terms. See, that's what, you know, when you're Muskogee, it's naturally instilled in you anyway. And that's why I go back to that. You know, how could we have said Okchanwa? Okchanwa. It to me, it was a creator given thing to us. And it's naturally instilled in our tongues. But you know, as we went on, you know, you just gotta wake your tongue up, is what I tell them. It's there. It's there. You just got to wake it up. You just got to wake it up. It's like a dead nerve. And but it's naturally instilled in your tongue. And that's how come, you know, she said that. Did you make it through the night okay? You know, instead of saying good morning. Noggin no Ska. What are you cooking? Now listen to the tone. Noggin no Ska. You got to put that question in there, because we can even put a question in Muskogee. What are you cooking? Nothing no say this guy. Hamburger and jayajis. I want a hamburger. Hamburger jayajis. Dinjugal bithagis. Let's go visit him. You know, when I was growing up, we used to visit and people would visit us all the time. You don't see that anymore. You know, sometimes we go visit somebody and, you know, they didn't have pop or Kool-Aid like we have today. They had coffee and water. So, and Oshofki. So if they happen to make Oshofki, that's where, you know, they served it. But most of the time it was water and coffee. You know, it was water and coffee. Dinjogo means someone's house. Bithagis. Bithagis means visiting. Dinjogo, so right here you're saying someone's house, visit. Let's go visit him. Bithagis. Dinjogo Bithagis. And you know, when I was growing up, we'd go to a day, people would visit us, we would visit them. And as hot as it is here, it's like 97 degrees here. Might not be as hot as it was yesterday. Might be in the 80s today. You know, we didn't go in, we'd sit outside on the porch. We'd sit out on the porch. That's where we was. Istan Ahitja, where are you going? Ahitja, where are you going, Istan Ahitja? What time is it? Hasiskika. Husis is short for hussy. It's saying, and gifka means measurement. Like a gifka. A gifka is like a poundage, or even how many yards. Either way, you go on, it's like a measurement. Najuma, what time is it? This I heard so many, I used this last night, done with it. And that's it's an expression. Or you can say, it's either way, you're gonna use it as an expression, like if you hear somebody die, tone changes it. You say, done with it. Done with it, but if you're, but if you're like, oh my gosh, you say, done with it. Oh my. Well, last night, my little grandson, he's the 7-year-old, he was riding his bike. He flipped over with his bike, cut his head. And I mean, he's scared of blood. So man, he thought he was dying. He had his hand on his head and it was bleeding. He said, Grandma, I cut my head, Jada, Jada. He was saying, Jada is blood. So he kept saying, Jada, Jada. And he was running down toward me. And I said, down what did? Oh my gosh. And it was a small cut, but it bled. It was, it bled a lot. And so boy, he was going, Grandma. And he said, I cut my head. But I thought when he first did it, I thought a wasp stung him. And I thought him and his little sister are running back. And we put band-aids on his head and everything. It was a very small cut. But anyway, after we did that, I said, "For Jody does goes. For Jody is wasp." And see, I haven't used for Jody on him, but maybe a few times. And he said, "What's that?" I said, "Wasp." But I said, "Dom, I did." And I took him in the house and we cleaned up, put medicine on it, and it was good. Yanagidi, what is this? Yanagidi, what is this? Oh, I see another one. You see one, Thor? You see a mistake here? My back hurts. Chata, it says hookies. It's supposed to be knee right here. Put it in right here, guys. Gosh, I'm just messing y'all up, I believe. Noki is supposed to be N-O-K. Yeah, Nokis. I need to slow down. I'm hungry. Chalois, I hear this all the time right here. My grandkids knows I'm hungry. And I told them that because they kept saying, I'm hungry. So I would say, Chalois, Chalois, Chalois. I kept repeating it. And so they picked it up. So now they say, Chalois. Chalois. That's right. You can say Istamaman Ayitska. Where are you going? Istan Ayitska. They're the same thing. Istamaman. Where at? Istan. Where? Okay. Very good, Thor. You're picking this up. You're really picking this up, Thor. Chalois. So when they say something in English, I repeat it with Muskogee. So when they say I'm hungry, I say Chalois. And they know now that they're to say it, so they'll say Chalois. Because I kind of got them in this routine, and they'll say, it's hot. I say, hey, you did. Is it hot? I say, hey, ye. And even food, I'll say, hey, ye. And they'll pick it up. And that's how they learned all these little words. And then they say them. And that's the thing. With my age group that I got at home, I don't think they know they're speaking a different language. They're just learning something new. They're just learning something new. And that's the difference between kids and adults. Adults, I've had adult students like over 18, they'll say, we can't learn it. I'm never going to learn this. They're already defeated before they get into the classroom. They're already defeated before they start anything. But now the little ones, they're like, and the older ones will give up this, oh, I can't learn this, and just throw it aside. But the little ones don't have, it's just something they're learning. And there's that difference. And And I said, turn yourself into a 3-year-old and you're just being taught something. It's nothing new. It's part of what you are. Okay. So my grandkids, they don't ever question or they never say, I can't learn this or I can't say this. So they just keep going. And that's the way I look at these. Okay. Kitchen items. We're going back over that because this is every day. Fork. Chofonwa. 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 So when they want a fork, I'll say chofonwa. Chofonwa. So whoever you're with in your household, hold it up and say chofonwa. It only help. It's helping you, and they're learning too. It's helping you to identify chofonwa. Spoon, hakoji. Hakoji. Hakoji is a spoon, hakoji. And I'll do that too. They know what a spoon is, hakoji. Because when they say, Grandma, we want a spoon, I say hakoji. And of course, they're not in their head. And I say it over and over because they eat cereal. They love cereal. They'll go through a 5-pound of cereal, and I don't know how, in probably 2 days. And so they're asking me constantly for a spoon. So I'll say hakoji. Hakoji. They know that. Islafkoji. Islafkoji. Remember, anything with uji at the end is is something small. So islafka is a knife. This is a little knife. Islafkoji, like a table knife or a steak knife. Islafkoji. Plate. Balakna. 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 But look at both. Balakna. And some people says, not adika. Adika. Adika means to put something in. But the way I learned it is like this, sufkoji. Balakna sufkoji. Balakna is a plate, and sufki means deep. But then we say something little. A plate, deep, little. Balakna sufkoji is a bowl. Okay, you got hakoji spoon. Like a tablespoon. Here you got hakko, big spoon. That's like when you're cooking. I have spoons that I serve with, and I have spoons that I cook with. This is what you cook with. Hakko. That's what I cook with. Hakko. Big pot, lihaya. This is descriptive. Li is short for ili. Ilihaya. Haya means it makes face. They call it lihaya. And I don't know how it makes legs, but it says lihaya. Lihaya. Li is short for ili, and haya means maker. Lihaya. Leg maker. And I figured that, back in their days, and I got some, those big pots, those big cast iron pots, they all had legs on them. They all had legs on them so that you could set it in the fire. You could set it in the fire. It's hard to cook on a gas stove with that because it's not sitting right on it. But in outside cooking, they sit there. And the lid is kind of deeper. And you make biscuits with it. You can you put coals on top of the lid and make biscuits with it. So, my daughter, my middle daughter, she wants to cook outside. It's hot right now. And at the grounds, woo. But she said, Mom, can you cook like we did that one time? She said, this was a few years ago. I cooked everything outside on open fire. And I brought out my little black pots. And she said, make biscuits. Because she said, I want to learn how to cook outside. And I said, there's nothing to it, but you can control the fire when you cook, outside on a campfire. You can control it. I taught my husband. But lihaya is a big pot saying that it's making legs. So that's where that comes from, I guess. Sagmo fetska. frying pan. Sakmoski, the base word is sakmoski is fry. To fry with is sakmoksetska. Damla, look at this, that's Creeklish. They call it a tumbler. Damla. Tumbler. That's where that comes from, that's damla. Siskida, something to drink with, is a coffee cup, and this is all this is saying, siskida, something to drink with, siskida. That's all it's saying, something to drink with, something to drink with. Iskida, it comes from this, but siskida, with the beginning, makes it something to drink with. I have to go back all through this, okay? Words rarely used. Gabidini or gabidina. Gabidina, yeah, gabidini is boss. Mochoga is cream, like on top, you know, and like sour cream. Mochoga. Dragon, danaloga. And that can be for a dragon or a dinosaur, even a dinosaur, danaloga. And we was watching Jurassic Park old movies one night, and I was naming those things danaloga to my grandkids. You know, everything is a teaching tool for me and my grandkids. Everything. You know, we kind of live out in the country. We live about well, y'all know what kind of town I live in, school and a post office and a nutrition center, and that's it. There's nothing on no lights, no street lights, and you really don't even have to stop at a stop sign unless a policeman's there maybe once a month. But you know, we don't even have to stop because there's no traffic. And the main street is probably every bit long as, if it's even long as a football field. I don't think it is, but that's where we live. And so, you know, it's so we kind of live outside of that little town, and kind of in a country. Our nearest neighbor is probably a quarter of a mile on each side of us, maybe more, a mile on each side of us. So we kind of live off the road. And so my grandkids got all this space, you know, to run around, but they know these things, you know, like poke salad and dragonfly, daddy long legs. I name it for them as we're looking at them. Mokjoga is sour cream. Okay, Danaloga, dragon, and we watched this on movies. Harry Potter is one of them that we learned a lot from. I named things for him. A Jurassic Park, Danaloga, but we don't have certain names for those dinosaurs, which my grandkid does. They know those different names for them. Get off the dang video games. Get off the dang video games. I know what you're talking about, because like I said, I have 3 of them. Manak hijat Vegas. Manak. That thing. Quit looking at it. Manak hijat Vegas. Vegas means quit looking at it. Manak, because we don't have a word like video and stuff. So what you're saying is get off that thing. And if you know, you're saying get off that thing. Manak. Oh well, you can say get off that thing you're looking at. Manak hijat Vegas. Quit looking at that thing. Okay, manak is like that thing. See, ma is that. Nak is thing. Manak, hijat, Vegas. Hijat means quit, that you're looking at. Vegas means quit. Quit looking at that thing. Manak hijat Vegas. Manak hijat Vegas. Does that make sense? Somebody asked a question, you know, get off that dang video. That's what you say, because we don't have a word for video. So we'll say, Manak hijat Vegas, that thing. Quit looking at that thing. Put ma MV Manak hijat Vegas, and this would be a V right here. WIKVS and Manak. This is Manak, MV, Manak, he's out Vegas. Very good, Tony, Jonathan. Very good. You're close. Anytime you have a command, you have to put VS at the end. Like Vegas, Yagabas, it's got VS at the end. That's a command. So you're commanding him to quit looking at it. Osa. That was hard for me. My grandkids don't know that word because we don't eat it. We don't, it's not in our area. We have them, but it's way out in the woods. So they don't know that word. You know, they don't know Osha. Dragonfly, they know because they see it. We see that in our area, and sometimes they come in our yard, especially around their little pool. They'll come around their yard and we say, Dabasana, Dabasana. And of course, being out in the country, we see Daddy Longlegs, Dabashuli, Dabashuli. And sometimes we'll just take them riding around, and like they'll say, Grandma, that there's an island out there, and I'll tell them, Odi, Odi. But they know Dabasana, Dabashula, Dabashuli, Daddy Longlegs, because they see those a lot. Do mahi. This one is a little bit too grown for them because I'm afraid I might scare them. And in fact, one of my other grandsons come over, spent about 2 or 3 days with us, with my grandkids. And he told my grandson something about a goat man. He wouldn't go to sleep that night, you know. And so I don't hardly use this right here, do mahi, because I don't want to scare him. You know, I don't hardly use that. Like, you know, I told y'all a story about that owl that I saw, do mahi. Moyimats, they know that because I use that once in a while. Moyimats, it happened. They don't know lunar eclipse because they've never actually seen that lunar eclipse. They've seen it when it got a little bit cloudy, but they see that all the time. But they couldn't look straight at the sun to see the eclipse. Sobakta loga. Sobakta loga. That means the frog swallowed it. Or hasisi tibaga. I mean, now they know this one. Doges. Doges. They mean that. They know that. And I'll say, Mak doges. I'm saying it. And that's usually in a tone that they've heard a lot. You know, especially my little grandson. He's the one that hears that. He's a mess. Okay, I'll say, Mak dogas, I'm saying that. But you're putting it in a tone where you're saying, I mean it. I am saying that and I mean it. Dogas. Okay. I am doing dogas. Dogas. No that's dogas. Look here. Dabasana. Dogas. I am looking. I am looking. Anything you're doing, this is kind of like that dogas. I am looking. Each dogas. I am doing. I am, because you're doing something when you're looking at something. Okay. So you say each dogas. I'm looking at a daddy long legs. Okay. Dogas. Dogas means now or ready. Be ready now. Dogas. Dogas. Like my mom used to say that when she was watching traffic for my husband. She'd say, Dogas, you know, now, go now, Dogas. She was a backseat driver for him. Okay, any questions so far? Any questions? I'm just kind of going over some things that we went over. So, you know, I don't want y'all to forget them, but also, you know, we're going to start something new. So I'll be using some of this stuff in those lessons that's coming up. Henna. Bisa. Gayaks. One guy, Henna. Yeah. You saw it? You saw Henna? I visited old gas. Yeah, you say he Hannah.
And
Say I visited Hannah. Chugobita. Oh, Hannah. You can't say that because it's like visiting. You can say I saw Hannah. Okay, Hannah hijayaks. I saw Hannah, but you didn't visit Hannah. Actually, because in our language, it's like visiting a person. Okay, but you could say you saw it. Hijayaks. I saw it. Does that make sense to you?
yeah, is the okay, so I can't use the word Bithgayunks the way I'm using it, or maybe I can't even use that form of it. I couldn't find it in my Left Bridge dictionary, and I misplaced my green one. But
Uh-oh.
it is Bithgayunk. I mean, what's the verb there?
I visited.
For visited, yeah.
I
If
visited.
I visited you, or Tenchugo
So
Bithagis.
yeah, if you say you're visiting someone in a house, you would say Chugobithayaks. I visited.
Okay, Chugo Bithayunks. Okay.
Yeah. But
I
when you
am.
say Hannah, you're gonna say I saw Hannah. So you would say hijayaks. Have you been there? You actually saw that, didn't you? Did you see it?
Oh, and hissy Bema Ojayunks.
Good. I'm not lying when I tell you, you better not blink your eye when you go through there. You know.
Kitles.
And it was
Talofa Kuji. Those.
and but my mom said, my mom was raised there, born there. She told me at one time that she said it was a booming town at one time. She said they had 2 banks, 3 stores. They had a merchant store there. They had a cafe. They had a movie, a theater. She said it used to be full of stuff, and she said a tornado came through there and just tore it all up and never was rebuilt after that. But she did right there where there's if you saw that, Thor, right there on the corner is a vacant, it's filled out. It's just a shell now, but there's a building there. She said that used to be a store and she worked in there. And my mom was old. So she said, like, if somebody wanted a chicken, they had to go out back and catch it, a live chicken. And she said cheese and cheese came in a big old block and you had to cut it off for them. And they sold caskets there, wooden caskets, not caskets what we see now, but the wooden ones, because that's all they had. And she said that's where you bought the casket if somebody died. And she said, like crackers came in a barrel and you had to put it in a sack and buy it that way. She saw all this stuff and, I love to sit there and just listen to her because she would tell me things and she even had war rations. And I didn't know what they were. And she showed it to me and she said, this is what you got during World War II. They were ration tickets or ration coupons, whatever they were. She had those. And, she had old receipts that came from the stores there. And, a pair of overalls was like 89 cents or 98 cents. They were and she said you could buy a bottle of pop for like 3 cents. And she said, well, anyway, she said you could go to a movie for a nickel. That's how old she was. And she saw Hannah with what it was, and then how she and how it was turned into, and of course she passed about 10 years ago, and she used to tell me these things. She'd say, Hannah was at one time had 2 banks, They had stores. It was a regular little town, but as time went on, after that tornado hit. It ruined it, just demolished it again. I would say demolished it because there's nothing there, but the school was there and she told me the school. Oh, look, my grandfather owned a grocery in Eufaula. I have an original thread display. Who's your father? Your grandfather?
My grandfather, his name was, their last name was Barnes.
Uh-huh.
My father went to Eufaula High School. But my grandmother's family were the Wallaces, and then her mother's adopted father was a doctor, Dr. Cutler.
So see, this right here, he owned a grocery. I bet there's people that remembers him. That's how come I asked his name. I'm not being nosy. I was just going, because I like stuff like this. And I was going to ask, do you remember this store to somebody that's out there? And I bet somebody does remember it. And then what was the store called?
I think it was Eufaula Mercantile or something, but him and his father both owned it. And my grandparents relocated to California in like late 1940s, 1950s.
Mhm.
And he opened a grocery in Sanger, California.
So see, this is something that, oh, okay, Tony, we'll see you. Jonathan Chihijati. And he said, take care, everyone. Oh, I know. Things like this. That's how come I always said my mother was a walking history book. Everybody says, and I always tell my grandkids, hang on to what I say, because especially the older ones. I say, because one day you're going to be history. And they're looking at it like, yeah, right. Like they're looking at them like they're thinking about like, I'm not a Benjamin Franklin, I'm not an Abraham Lincoln, I won't be John F. Kennedy, like history. But I said, you're going to be history for your family. You're going to be history one day. And for them, you're going to be the biggest, the most, you're going to be passing down things through history. And that's my job right now. I'm passing Thor my history. I'm passing you my history. See, I'm history. And my mother was a walking history book because she had all this stuff and could tell me. And Jane, you could tell your family what you just told me. You just passed on history to me. So you're history. But people says, oh, I'll never be history. Yes, you will. Everybody's gonna be a historian. Everybody's gonna be, to your family, you're gonna be a famous historian. You'll be famous because you're telling all this stuff that you remember. So my mom told me this stuff, and so I tell my grandkids, I tell them, boy, my mom used to say, and I think she said they had like 2 bars there. And I get the name of this. One bar was called Blue Goose. And she said, they had different, and she told me they bought caskets. Now, can you imagine going into a mercantile store and buying a casket? A merchant and buying a casket. And she said they had them lined up on the front of the store, had them lined up there. And you just pick out one that thought would be the right size for your family member. And that to me is like, I could never imagine doing that, and because back then they didn't embalm them. Okay, I guess this is Florence. Okay, I'm gonna ask somebody if they remember that story, because there's still some little bit of elders there. All the bars are gone in Hannah. So, but that's things like this. And where you saw Hannah Thor, you could say, I saw a little town. Had a school and a post office and nothing more. And I don't know if y'all live right here, but Hannah Watermelon Festival is coming up in the 2nd week or the 3rd week of August. And you will see people there that's been there that used to live there and moved off years ago, but they'll come back to that little festival, and they'll walk around and say, do you remember so and so? That's my great great grandpa. Or they'll say, do you remember so and so? That's my great great grandma. Or that was my great great. They come to those things and they'll just walk around, and it ain't nothing much. It's food, a little concession, and they have a band there. And the kiddie parade, of course, is not even big as a football field, but little kiddie parade that comes through there. And my grandkids, I found out, we started with our kids. My husband and I, we start putting our kids in there during the festival. And the girls said, we found records. Y'all been in it 22 years. I did not know that, because my kids are grown now. And we started on the grandkids, and they're kind of outgrowing it. So we're kind of like, we're going, they're getting too old. It was you follow wholesale grocery. All right, good. I will remember that, because I got it written down here. I'm writing it down as you're going along. They said y'all were in it 22 years, and we had to be, because my daughters are all in their 30s and late 30s. And now we started on our grandkids, but what? Our grandkids are growing up. We only have, we got one bonus grandbaby that my middle daughter has adopted. And so we have him, and we have a little, and my little boy. They're the only little ones now. The rest of them are too cool to walk through there, I think. So they, she said 22 years. And then my husband told me the other day, just here a week ago, he said, I think we've outgrown the parade. I think we've outgrown. Okay. Haziskivka Hamgat, Othibiga. But guys, Thor, I'm glad you saw Hannah. And you, Jane, I got it all written down, because I'm going to ask some elder whether they know, remember the store. See how it was full of, all this stuff. And you're going to be history one day. Hang on to that stuff, pass it down. What I do is I write it down. I write down everything that's significant, and I got a little book that I keep it in. And I told my husband, if I go before you, this book is to go to the girls, especially my clan, and everything that, that was significant in my life. I've written it down in that book, so that way, when anything happens to me, it's passed on. My clan and everything. My grandfather, kind of like a family tree. I got it written in there, so that way, even if I tell them and they don't remember, they'll have this book, because I wish my mom had done that. I wish my mom had done that. So Hazuskivka Hamgat Othibiga, Monday in Hayatka, Chihizagate. That's Monday, morning after Monday. That's Tuesday. Chihizagate.
Mvhayv, are you only having one class next week?
No, we're gonna go through the whole thing.
Okay, I'm gonna be out of town, so I'll try to take my computer.
Yeah, try to take it, because we're going, and the next class, we'll kind of go over things that we went over, like reviewing. But the next class, we're going into unusual phrases, unusual words, just like kind of we did here, and making phrases with them. Like, we got word for amulets, scissors, everyday things, scissors. Then we're gonna go into we're gonna go back into cooking a little bit. And I'm going to tell you what canned green beans are, pickles, cucumbers. I'm going to go back over those things, because, like canned goods is saktiki. And, words like that, because canned goods is a lot of part of my life right now, because I'll go home and open a can of green beans for my grandkids. So they call it dalak saktiki, canned green beans. So we'll see y'all. I'll see y'all then. Dadak Hamgin next week. But and Thor, I'm glad you saw Hannah.
Yeah, Hannah Okidesulki, Ayunks.
Very good. Next time you come down, let us know. And they have a community center down there, Indian Community Center. There's not very many there, but once in a while we'll have activities. And if you happen to be down that time, you can come down there and see our community center, through Creek.
Ayayathlis. Ayayathlis.
Oh, I know. I'm looking forward to it. Oh, I know. Chihitagate. Hello, everybody, for being in this class. And like I said, I have all the respect for you for taking this class, because if it wasn't for y'all to try to carry this language on, carrying it on, it would stop with me. And I don't want it to stop with me. It's got to be passed on. All right. Mado, get said, I say bye, and I'll see y'all later.
Madam Jihijatis.
Jimio.